Welcome to Canada's rich history, a captivating journey that invites you to explore the diverse tapestry of events, cultures, and milestones that have shaped this remarkable nation. Canada's history is a mosaic of Indigenous heritage, colonial influences, and modern nation-building, each contributing to its unique identity. Understanding this history is crucial as it not only informs the present, but also guides Canada's future. The significance of diving into Canada's past lies in its power to enlighten us about the resilience and adaptability of its people, the complexities of its multicultural society, and the evolution of its political landscape. One poignant example is the history of Indigenous peoples who have inhabited the land for thousands of years. Their rich cultures and traditions are integral to Canada's identity. The acknowledgement of Indigenous rights and the process of reconciliation are ongoing efforts that highlight the enduring impact of this aspect of history. Another significant example is Canada's role in the British Empire, which began with French and British colonization in the 16th and 17th centuries and evolved into a dominion status before achieving full sovereignty in 1982 with the patriation of the Constitution. This period laid the groundwork for Canada's political institutions and bilingualism. Scholars and historians often laud Canada's multicultural policy, seeing it as a positive outcome of its historical narrative. The inclusive approach to immigration and diversity is often cited as a strength, fostering a society that celebrates a wide range of cultures and perspectives. However, challenges and controversies do exist. The treatment of Indigenous populations and the legacy of residential schools represent a dark chapter in Canadian history that continues to spark debate and demand redress. Additionally, the historical tension between French and English-speaking populations illustrates the complexity of Canadian identity politics. Canada's rich history is interwoven with its economic, social, and environmental narratives. The fur trade, for instance, was pivotal in economic development and exploration, influencing settlement patterns and international relations. The country's evolution from colonial rule to a sovereign nation-state reflects broader themes of decolonization and self-determination that resonate worldwide. In exploring Canada's past, we not only appreciate its achievements and recognize its challenges, but we also gain insight into the forces that continue to shape its national character. This historical understanding is essential for anyone looking to grasp the essence of what makes Canada the vibrant and dynamic country it is today. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel to continue this journey through history and discover more fascinating stories that define Canada. Canada's history is a vibrant tapestry woven from a multitude of events, cultures, and milestones. To understand this unique nation in just 10 minutes, we'll journey through key moments that shaped its identity, starting with the First Nations who have inhabited the land for thousands of years. Their deep connection to the land underscores the diverse landscape of Indigenous cultures that laid the foundation for what is now Canada. The arrival of European explorers in the late 15th and early 16th centuries, such as John Cabot and Jacques Cartier, marked the beginning of a dramatic transformation. This encounter with Europeans brought about significant change, opening the door for colonial ambitions, primarily by the French and British. Their rivalry culminated in the pivotal Battle of the Plains of Abraham in 1709, leading to British dominance over Canada. The significance of these historical dynamics is immense. They set the stage for Canada's development as a bilingual nation with deep roots in both French and English traditions. The struggle for influence between these two powers can be seen, for example, in the establishment of Quebec, a province that maintained a distinct cultural identity with strong French influence, and the Loyalists' migration after the American Revolution, which bolstered English-speaking populations in places like Ontario. From these seeds sprouted the Confederation of 1800, where provinces like Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia united to form Canada. This monumental step was driven by desire for economic stability and self-governance, leading to the gradual addition of other provinces and territories. However, the path to Confederation and beyond was not without challenges. The treatment of Indigenous peoples, whose rights and territories were often overlooked, remains a controversial topic. Land disputes and assimilation policies have left deep scars, calling for reconciliation efforts that continue today. Moreover, Canada's history of immigration has enriched its cultural mosaic, fostering a society known for its diversity and inclusivity. Yet it also presents challenges around integration and identity. These historical currents all play critical roles in defining the nation's contemporary policies and cultural dynamics. By understanding these key points, viewers can appreciate how Canada's past influences its present identity. We encourage you to subscribe to our channel for more insights into fascinating histories from around the globe, exploring stories that help us make sense of our complex world. Before the first European settlers arrived, the land we now call Canada was home to a vibrant tapestry of Indigenous cultures and societies. These ancient cultures, including the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations, have deeply rooted traditions and histories that are integral to understanding Canada's identity today. The Indigenous peoples possess unique languages, social structures, and spiritual beliefs that have evolved over thousands of years. They were not only the original stewards of the rich and diverse landscapes, but also developers of sophisticated resource management systems and trade networks. Understanding the Indigenous peoples and ancient cultures of Canada is crucial for appreciating the broader history of the nation. These societies have significantly contributed to the cultural and historical fabric of Canada, influencing everything from art and language to environmental stewardship and governance systems. The traditions and stories passed down through generations encapsulate a worldview that respects balance with nature, a perspective increasingly recognized for its relevance in today's discussions on sustainability and environmental protection. For instance, the Haida people of the Pacific Northwest have a long tradition of creating intricate totem poles, which serve as records of lineage, history, and mythology. Similarly, the Iroquois Confederacy, known for its sophisticated political system, influenced the democratic ideals that would later be incorporated into modern Canadian governance. These examples highlight the ingenuity and rich legacy of Indigenous cultures, underscoring their enduring influence. Despite their importance, Indigenous peoples have faced significant challenges, including colonialism, forced assimilation, and marginalization. The legacy of residential schools, where Indigenous children were stripped of their culture, language, and identity, is a painful chapter that continues to affect communities. However, there is a growing movement towards reconciliation and recognition of Indigenous rights and contributions, reflecting broader shifts in societal attitudes. Some controversy exists around how Indigenous histories are represented and integrated into the mainstream Canadian narrative. There are calls for a more inclusive historical perspective that recognizes the contributions and sovereignty of Indigenous nations, often juxtaposed with traditional Eurocentric views. Indigenous culture's influence continues to be felt in various aspects of Canadian life, from legislation like the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action, to cultural revitalization efforts. By acknowledging and learning from these ancient cultures, Canadians and people worldwide gain a richer understanding of the nation's past, paving the way for a more inclusive and equitable future. Let's dive deeper and remember, for more insightful content like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Canada's history is a rich tapestry woven with diverse cultures, pivotal events, and evolving ideologies. An engaging way to start unraveling this narrative is by delving into the early relationships between Indigenous peoples and European explorers, which laid the groundwork for modern Canada. These initial encounters between Indigenous communities who had thrived on the land for thousands of years and European explorers, eager for new trade routes and resources, were transformative. The significance of this era cannot be overstated, as it set the stage for centuries of cultural exchange, conflict, and cooperation that would shape the nation's identity. One of the most notable examples of this interaction is the fur trade, which became a cornerstone of economic activity in early Canada. European demand for beaver pelts drove expansion into the interior of the continent, fostering partnerships with Indigenous groups such as the Cree and the Anishinaabe, who became crucial allies and trading partners. However, this burgeoning trade also brought significant changes to Indigenous ways of life, sometimes leading to dependency and cultural disruption. Another critical example is the founding of Quebec City by Samuel de Champlain in 1608. This established a European foothold in North America that would eventually grow into a substantial colonial presence. Champlain's alliances with Indigenous nations were essential for the survival and expansion of New France, underscoring the mutual interdependence of the groups during this period. Opinions on these early interactions vary significantly. Some historians emphasize the cooperative nature of these relationships, pointing out how indigenous knowledge and assistance were vital to the success of European settlements. Others highlight the negative impacts, such as the spread of diseases to which indigenous populations had no immunity and the beginning of exploitative colonial practices that would later lead to more oppressive policies. Controversies and challenges are inherent when evaluating this period through modern perspectives. The narrative often varies, depending on whose viewpoint is prioritized, the settlers or the indigenous peoples. This dual perspective challenges us to reconsider traditional narratives and appreciate the complex dynamics that shaped early Canadian history. This exploration of early European indigenous relations is crucial to understanding Canadian history as a whole. It not only illustrates the foundational interactions that influenced the development of Canada, but also highlights ongoing themes of negotiation, adaptation, and resilience that continue to define the nation's character today. As you explore these stories, remember that Canada's history is not just a series of past events, but an intricate journey still unfolding. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fascinating insights into world history.